Hey, you, do me a favor, subscribe to this channel. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Midnight Madness Chats with Hardman. I've got a great band on the air tonight. I've heard of this band quite a few times in my career. Please introduce yourself and introduce your band.
Hey, I'm the first one. Fantastic. Thanks very much. And Hardman, it's really great to be on the show. Thanks for having us on. I'm Armando, and I'm the noisy one in the band. I'm the drummer, and I contribute to the rhythm part. So, hey, it's me.
Yeah, like man, I'm Marius, also known as George, also known as Billy, Liaan, different things, man. It all depends on the day of the week. No, but I play bass. So with Armando, I make up the rhythm section. Um, yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, I'm Liaan. I am the vocalist and singer, and yeah, that's what I do.
How's it? How's it? I'm Tim. Thank you for having us, Mr. Hardman. I come last, and I play guitar as well.
So yeah, guys, you guys obviously this band has been running for quite a while. It's quite a well-established band. I think starting with Armando, tell me, what has kept you guys going, over the years, and what message would you, give onto young artists starting out in modern times?
You know what's kept us going, and the advice for really all the young artists out there. It starts with the heart. It's doing something that you're really absolutely passionate about. And if you're not doing it because you love and you want to do it, then don't do it. The second part to that is, although it starts with the heart, and of course, really where the main trigger is, it also becomes important who you're involved with. And I'm fortunate enough to, to have these guys as my bandmates. Like most, we've all been around and been through other bands and so forth. But, these bunch of guys that I've shared the last 10 years or so, I mean, I can't even count them. It just goes to show how quickly it goes. I think I can say I'm honored. I'm honored to be with these guys. And I think what makes it really special is the fact that, when we get together, it's just easy flow. Let's put it that way. It's very important to be involved with guys that telepathically, that communication is strong, and it really just then generates all these creative juices that allows the band to do what it comes natural and to do what we love doing. And so that's the advice to all the young artists: follow your heart, follow your passion, follow your vision, and just continuously keep on going.
So you guys have quite a diverse group, and I can see you guys are quite funny, and I can imagine what a band practice must be like. Marius, tell me about the process of writing music with your bandmates, and does it get chaotic from time to time?
Look, I don't think it gets chaotic. I think there's always a sense of control when we do stuff. Specifically music. Look, in the past, it was a thing of somebody would bring a riff and we would play around with it. But since Tim joined, I think it was 2015, it just kind of changed. The dynamic changed from where either Liaan would have a riff or a lyric or whatever, and we put a bass line to it and a drum beat to it. We actually started making music on the spot. And it touches on what Armando says, there's that telepathic understanding between each member in the band. Generally, what happens is we get to band practice or rehearsal. Armando and Liaan would go off on a tangent on some electronic thing or some plug or some device or something, something new tech, or Liaan would have a rant about AI or something, but there's something happened to somebody in that week, and they generally address that, and then myself will stand outside and just crack jokes on the side the whole time, and have a little own vibe. But with that being said, when we do write stuff, it's either Tim plays something and we tag along, or I'll play something and the others tag along, and the same goes for Armando. If he plays a beat and it's a sweet beat, then you kind of pick up on it. And look, I've got a saying and a firm belief that it's not a song until Liaan sings. And we know we've got something as soon as Liaan walks up to the mic and he starts singing, even if it's just random words or something. Look, I don't know what goes through his head. It's one of the strangest people I know, to be honest. But you know, just a great pal. But I think I mean, I don't want to speak for Liaan, but I'm assuming it's about creating the melody line, you know, or the vocal line. Just getting that together, and then you know, once we got that nailed down, you know, then essentially, you know, we start to refine, you know, what it is what we do. But again, man, I think the key thing for us is that it's essentially all about the vibe. So yeah, that's basically the creative process, if you want to call it that. But in general, man, it's just about feeling each other out. And again, going back to the telepathy thing, like sometimes the music would depend, or the vibe of the music would depend on the vibe of the band. And the vibe of the band is picked up by an individual. So to give you an example, if like at our last rehearsal, you know, I'm not looking for sympathy or anybody to give me a hug or anything. Although a hug would be lekker though. A hug would be nice. Ek moet net 'n drukkie man. Net vasgehou word. I had a bit of a shit week. And you know, we came in and started playing, and there was just a dark vibe around the music that we were making. You know, just playing. Whether it be our own stuff or just new stuff that we're just plonking along with. But in general, man, again, the whole thing for us as a band and creating music is all about the feel. If there's no feel, it's no song. And also if there's no Liaan singing, then no song. Then it's just Armando, Tim, and myself playing everything from jazz to funk to rock to whatever, to sucky. We don't give a shit. If it's lekker, it's lekker. And I think that's
Saki is
message, man.
particularly lekker.
That's very interesting. Can you comment on that as well? Talk about a little bit about your process. You know, what is going on in that head of yours when you do write lyrics? It was difficult for me to place the song, which we will talk about right now. But it's almost like a type of modern grunge, if that makes any sense. Like a very strong combination between like very melodic rock and maybe a little bit of grunge. So yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, Marius knows me very well, man. I mean, we've been playing music together for a long time, and we're very much about the mood and the vibe. And like he says, it's what I do if they start playing, and it all depends on the day and the energy in the studio and whatever. But if it grabs me, what we've done with specifically the new stuff, the stuff that we've written in the last 3 years, is whatever vibe is created in the studio while they're jamming, I try not to think at all. I try and just sort of hear what they're doing, and then whatever comes into my head without censoring it, I try and push out, you know. And the one thing I always say, I'm an incredibly average musician. But the one gift I do have is I can pluck a melody out of the sky. That's what I could always do. I just don't think about it now. As I've gotten older, I stopped thinking about censoring what I want to say. And I've also tried to not make it too complicated. So it'll always start with the melody, because the melody is more important than the actual words for me at this stage. So the hook, the melody, and then the general vibe and what you want to portray. And then as soon, maybe on the second or third band practice, when we've got the song down, then the words will come quickly. I never sit down and think about the words. I'll like pluck a verse because I've had like 3 beers and now I'm singing this song, and then I'll pluck this verse out of nowhere. I've really, had a really cuck day, or Marius and I had a conversation about something, or Tim and I had a convo, or Armando, and it's just a general vibe, and that inspires then the song. So it's all very real. It's all about scenarios and moments. So I'll picture this moment like with Leave. Leave was like a moment, a specific breakup moment, and then just getting in your car and driving, and Friday night and driving too fast. And Marius saw the same thing in his head, and breakup, fighting, having sex, toxic, terrible.
Oh,
That's what the relationship is.
I didn't see that in Michael Powell.
No, he had the driving at night. I had the breaking up toxic relationship cock. That's where I'm at, you know. But we've all been there, and every guy in this band inspires every song and our lives, and that's what it's about, you know. With Leave, it's a moment. It was incidentally the first song that we wrote from the new writing cycle for the third album. It was the first one, and it all originated from that bass, the pounding bass of the kick drum. I remember very clearly that Marius was yelling at Armando to just 4-beat, just kick it, you know, no snare, just run the toms. And that built the song. But I think, yeah, it's a bit different. I ran it through a generator because we had to sort of put down the genre, what the song is in, and it came up with exactly what you're saying. It's like a melodic rock, modern rock, post-grunge, but we didn't go for that at all. Like everything else we do, we don't go for that. You know, it's just a color blues song.
I would also just like to add on, the comment where Liaan said, like, it was in my head and it was in his head and they say it was in your head as well, Hardman. It was in everybody's head. One of the cool thing about, and I mean, dude, we stroke each other's egos. Yes, as you should check us go. Although we can also be extremely brutal with each other. Ons kan lelik raak. Whatever Liaan sing is not something that and I'm speaking for myself, where I personally can't relate to that song. It's a funny thing, where, I mean, everybody has their role in the band and everybody's got the instrument that they play and, what they do and all that stuff. But it's generally when you listen to the song back, you actually hear like the final recording and the song is released and all of that. And you actually start to listen it from an objective point of view, although it's extremely difficult to be objective to the music that you're making because, I mean, you're in it. But when you're taking that step back, you actually start to realize, like, fuck it, man. I actually felt like this, and it's true. Like, hoe jy geweet, jou bliksem, jy is in my kop. And I think that's the beauty of what it is that we've got going.
So just a little side comment for all our American listeners, we are speaking Afrikaans in between, which is our native language here in South Africa. Last little question before we jump into the song. This one's for Timothy, my metal brother in arms. So you are this fucking shredding motherfucker that I know from stage with Human Nebula. And it was so interesting when I learned that you actually play for this band as well. And I listened specifically to like the guitaring and everything. I like to like delve into music and sort of like open it up and try and figure out what makes it work. And obviously completely different from what you play in Human Nebula. So tell me a little bit about process. Tell me, does that metal in the back of your head sometimes like have these intrusive thoughts? Tell me a little bit about the inspiration and all that.
First of all, thank you, sir. I'd say there's no crossover between either or, because I think making music's like playing golf. Play the course you're on. So if the thing that you're playing at the time is one note in whatever style you want to call it, you're gonna play that one note with as much intensity, as much conviction as you can. So no, I wouldn't say there's any crossover, but it's just nice to be able to play different styles, and we do very much ourselves. We already across this really wide range of musical styles that we play. So I like to think of it as just different strokes for different times. Sometimes you're feeling heavy and shreddy. Sometimes you're feeling like playing one chord for an hour, if that's what it is. Different influences for different things.
Let's start to delve into Leave, set to release on the 4th of April. A very raw and emotional song. Where does the theme come from? You guys did say a little bit about, getting in your car and leaving. But tell me, where were you when the lyrics became alive? Were you like like you mentioned, you sometimes just go in raw while you guys are jamming, or did you have like a preset idea?
I think with Leave specifically, when the lyrics came, I was probably about 3 beers and 2 brandies deep into a band practice, and it was really not difficult to write Leave at all. It was a straightforward process lyrically. It was more the melody when we wrote the first 2, 3 practices that I actually got it on video somewhere when we did it the first time. The melody came very quick, and I think it was a rehearsal or two after that, and we actually tracked it because we track our rehearsals. We record everything that we do. We've learned over the years that you do some great things in the moment and you don't want to forget it. And this is one of the songs we didn't have to go listen back to. Then, you know, it's a keeper. And we just did it, and the chorus came instantaneously. The first verse came instantaneously. And then I changed the second verse during the recording process slightly. 1 or 2 things that just didn't sit right. And, you know, it's very simple. Like I said, the whole idea with this song and this phase is to make it as simple as possible and as catchy as possible, and not try and go complicated while retaining that raw emotion and that feeling. There was more focus on getting the right sound and the right instruments going for me than actually the lyrics. It was about conveying the message as a whole.
So I think recording your practices is a very good idea. We've also recently started doing it, and now we realize we're cuck. But other than that, I think it's a good way to sort of like backtrack, because sometimes, like, you know, you get these moments during band practice where you're just fiddling, like 2 members are arguing about lyrics or whatever, and a guitarist is sitting there doing something. And then when you listen back to those recordings, it's so interesting to me. And you're like, hey, what was the guy doing right there? And then you take that moment and you turn it into something great. Do you guys ever have moments like those?
Yeah, I think, you know, on that note, those moments for us is actually the beginning of a band practice. So it's actually very strange that we got into this pattern. What I mean by that is that when we get into, you know, our comfort studio and that zone and that environment, you know, we're in a relaxed environment. That's a good thing about also recording it. And if you think about, you know, that process, is that when we are warming up, you know, before we, you know, if we've got a show coming up and we're rehearsing with that particular show, before we do any sort of work, we normally will jam, and we use that jam as a warming up process. And that process, by the way, is for the color blue at the moment, you know, a really pivotal point in the creation of the music that we're writing at the moment. Because when we're doing that, each individual will have its own way on how they feel for that particular day, and it's the commencement of a riff or a beat, you know, while we're warming up, that telepathically, as I said earlier on, we all pick up on, and it's picking up on that vibe that we then contribute on how we feel. So those moments, and the beauty about recording that process is it's a moment in time. And if you think about the process in itself, you're basically capturing a moment in time and how you feel and how you translating your feeling into your respective instruments. Now that pickup, that slight recording, in my opinion, is actually pivotal in what we do here. And what I mean by pivotal is that many other bands that I've also been involved with, the writing process is very different to what I feel the 4 of us are doing. And I think that's what makes it quite special, because we don't have a writing process where somebody comes in and dictates, you know, a whole song that they've probably written, presented to the band, and everybody contributes individually to that song. It is a creation at a specific point in time of how we feel. So if you've recorded that and we kind of then play it back, and we like that vibe, that's what then triggers the next phase in the process. So I think back to that point, getting in there, our key moments of writing is, believe it or not, the jamming session when we start.
I think that's a very real way of writing music. As band members, you need to be very, very close to be able to do something like that. It's not something that you jump in and just do. It's something you have to know each other so well. We used to have a similar, now I'm talking 10 years back, we had a similar thing where we used to call it random jam. So random jam is where you just sit and someone picks up something. I think music became very productionized. So a lot of bands tend to try and follow sort of a recipe if you know what I mean. They're like, okay, we're sitting down, we're gonna do this, do A, do B, do C, do D, and then they sort of follow that recipe, and then they never connect on, let's call it a spiritual level in a band. And what I can hear from the stories you guys are telling me, that you guys are very much like in sync on a spiritual level in the music, because I do feel that music is extremely spiritual. Timothy, tell me about that. Tell me about when you guys are writing and you have this moments and you're doing your random jams, and when it comes to the actual studio time, you're going to studio now, you're going to record these ideas and stuff. How do you guys handle disputes, and how open are you about changing things?
I like to think, I mean, every band has to have a genre and be defined as something. But I think spiritually we're a jazz band because we all improvise everything. Like, that's basically the writing process in a nutshell. Is that it's just improv until something sits, and then that'll slowly get refined. There's repeating parts. Like once you've improved a big enough section, you can okay, let's circle back to that thing, and then slowly but surely it'll take shape, and then we have a song. But we've literally had instances where we've written stuff on stage in between songs that ended up sticking. Just that little 2-4 bar idea that can loop ended up being a song eventually. So by the time we actually get to recording the stuff, we've played it so many times and refined it, structured and pieced everything together along the way that by the time the recording actually starts, we know exactly what we want to do. Like, it's more just a means of putting the tracks down the best way that we can, because we like to get real performance based takes where we're not punching takes in and not comping takes. We try to get basically a live take of the song when we record it. So it's really a one take Willie. By the time we record that song, it's got to be so perfect. There's no room for fuck ups. There's no errors, nothing. So we don't really have disputes in that sense. Like, it's a gradual process. So there's no room for.
On that also, look, Liaan does basically all of the work, essentially, right? So the recording, unless he's singing, then we're pressing spacebar and enter. Like that's us. We do it, and we've got a mic and everything, and we rip on each other. We generally rip fucking hard on each other. But generally,
We
I
have to.
think all four of us are very, I mean, it's the only way. All four of us we're very open and receptive to the other's opinions. But talking about disputes, we've been together now for 10, 11, 12 years, something like that. Fucking forever, right? I can only recall one dispute in recording, only one dispute. And it was between Liaan and myself. And it was just a misunderstanding. All it was a misunderstanding. And it was around Tim's guitar solo. So it's funny because Tim had absolutely no fucking say in the thing. And Liaan and myself, we were having a dispute. And all I was saying is like, it doesn't need distortion. Like the song is clean. It has to be played clean. The solo part has to be clean. And for some fucking reason, Liaan thought I said he doesn't know how to mix, or he doesn't know how to, and like then we started going at each other. And it's like, nee, niemand sê ek kan die fucking mixie ou. That's not what I said, man. Like, what are you on about? So, and that was literally the only real dispute around recording. And even that, like I said, it was just a misunderstanding. But again, like it's because we're open and we're all four of us, we're fucking honest, dude. Like we don't fuck around. Like if you want to say something, you say it. And we take it. You take it on the chin. Like if you fucked up and like other guys feels like, listen, it's your fucking mistake, then so be it. And we call each other out. But there's never a level of ego. There's never a thing of I'm the best and fuck you, like my ideas and that's it. Like I'm a very direct guy. Like I tend to I don't give a fuck about your feelings. That is what it is. Sorry. If you want to cry about it, shame. Go. It's your problem, right? but then I'll have a specific point of view, and it takes somebody like Armando, for instance. He'll stay quiet the whole time while I'm fucking going off. And then once I'm done, he'll be like, "Yeah, I just want to point out, say, you're doing exactly what you said the other acts shouldn't be doing. That's what you're doing. So maybe just so." And again, it's just because we've been together for so long. There's no pretense. Nobody has to pretend shit. We all know. We call a spade, and we fucking love each other, man.
I also want to say a reason why, just to tag on to that, why the ideas in the studio and the recording works is we also got a rule in the band. If someone doesn't like a song, we don't do that song. So it doesn't matter if 3 people like the song. If one person doesn't connect with that song, what's the point in doing that song? Well, because you're always going to have that one person that's like, oh, I just want to get through this. And, you know, you can see that. So that's a mistake all of us made in earlier bands. And that's something that we said, right, it's a ground rule in this band. If we don't like it, we don't like it. Go do it as a solo project or something. You can carry on. But a color blues song has to be a color blues song where everyone likes the song. And like Tim said, by the time, look, we're always in the studio. We're always busy. This is what we're doing. So there's so many versions of a song that we know what to do. The thing that we're fortunate also to be in this position, and we've worked to be in this position, where when we go in and we say, right, we're going to track drums, it's a playthrough. I don't believe in comping. I don't believe in bar for bar recording, because it takes the feel away, and that's just the way I want to record music. I understand I can do it if I want to, and I can spit it out very quickly, but you lose the timbre, you lose the feel. When we do drums, for instance, Armando has to play that whole track, and we record video as well. Like on Leave, there's a full playthrough video of Armando actually doing the track, which we'll put out on YouTube. As soon as the song's out, we'll put out Armando's playthrough track in the studio. And that's his actual track. I got the same for George on the bass, got the same for Tim on guitar, and I got the same for me on vocals, you know. It does get difficult with sometimes when I remember we once did a song, it was 10-4-46 on the 2019 album, Light Switch with Armando, where he played the drum track 48 times. Before we actually got the take, and it was just one little thing that was off. So it wasn't just one little thing, you know. So we do that, and that creates that right sound. So for me, it's more about the sound when we get into the studio and the quality of the instruments than the actual structure. The structure is done. We know the structure. And you can't record a song if you don't know. If you're still figuring out the structure while you're in the studio, you got problems.
That answers a lot about the next question I was about to ask, because when I was listening to the song, it's very clean. I don't know how to say it, but there's a very few like studio engineers that in modern times, because I mean modern times, let's be honest, it's so saturated. I mean, every second guy has a studio in his house. I've got a studio in my house, so you know what I mean. It's very saturated. But even though you have like all these sound engineers and studio engineers going around, there's very few that can get like a very clean tone out of the recording. And maybe it's maybe that you guys are so like on it that you have to play it perfectly. That is why you're getting that clean. Obviously, I know you know what you're doing in the studio as well, but it's very clear. Everything has its place, and everything it fits the song so perfectly.
I'm very, I'm very vocal about this because I started my journey with recording music and being a sound engineer when I was 12. I started mixing stuff. You know, I always said I got into music because I liked recording music. And I had to scrounge for little pieces and desks and things, and trying to put a band together. We all start the same way. We're trying to get the sound through speakers, but I think there's a lot of guys a lot of people, they use the tech, and I understand it. And we can get into the whole AI discussion if you want as well, but there's a lot of fakeness out there, and for me, I remember I was fortunate to spend a lot of time when I was 16, 17, 18 years old with very good engineers. I mean, I had dinner with Peter Paulston. I was fortunate enough to be introduced to him when I was like 18 years old by Dave Allen, who used to be in the Radio Rats in Springs, and he had his little studio, and I could work on good equipment and I could learn. And the big thing is I also learned how to make a band sound good by having terrible mics and a bad desk. Through the years, you hone that art and you hone that skill, and you become better at what you do, and you tend to. Your process is your process, and you got to stick to that process. That's your sound. So the sound, the color blue sound that you hear, that clean sound, that's the color blue sound, because that's my sound. If it was someone else recording us, it would possibly be a different sound, with the cleanliness that you're talking about. So that's something that we've worked towards, and I can't record any other way. I simply can't, and I don't want to. That's the method that I'm using. And then also with these guys, I mean, I don't think any other band would want to work with me in the studio. I would. It would be terrible. I want playthroughs. I want click track playthroughs. We're not going to comp. We're not going to drop. And these guys are so talented and so good that we can do that. We can do playthroughs. We can do click track playthroughs, and that's the way music should be recorded, man. It should be done that way.
Just on a side note, the bass line is 2 notes. So putting out a playthrough on that would be pretty fucking pointless. Just putting it out there. No,
Yeah, but we can look at
literally
your
2
belly
notes.
button,
There's a lot of sexual vibes in this band. I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
maybe
fucking
why
extremely
your in sync vibes are going.
We've seen things.
We have.
We were in Bloemfontein. We were on our way to. We had a show in East London. We played a festival in East London, and on the way there, we had a show in Bloemfontein. So when we got in Bloemfontein, played the show. I think we played one song in the power trip, and then we were like, all right, fine. So we, started catering, and eventually by 11 o'clock they switched on the power. And long story short, we went home very late, or to the Formula One hotel. It used to be a Formula One hotel back in the day. Now it's, I think, like Protea Inn or something like that, or City Lodge or whatever. But I'll never forget this, ever, in my life, ever. Will I ever forget this, ever. Not fucking never will I forget this. Liaan was spooning me. I'm the big guy, and he's small. And I was small spoon, he was big spoon, but it was purely out of a comfort thing, because I was dry, my neck was seer. And to act dry to dry, but it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. And as I turned, Armando at the top bunk, he came down and he was wearing his briefs. And it was just like, I'll never, Tom, I've got you. I'll never forget it. Ever. Ever.
Red.
That's why we
I can only say one thing. Okay. Hardman, Midnight Madness.
But it's true.
I will never forget Marius's eyes. I'll never forget his eyes
Oh.
when Armando's crotch came past.
Dude, I immediately
I'll never
just
forget
turned
it.
around, like Liaan and myself just looked at each other square in the face. It was like, this is a bit gay,
Yeah.
man. And not to be fucking critical of any people and their vibes and their things. I don't give a fuck what you want to be, but it was gay. Like, some things are just fucking gay, and that was gay. Like to ek en Liaan vir mekaar vashou in die bed en vir mekaar kyk. Soos, "Jom, wat gaan nie af? What are we doing?" Yeah, it was cold. It was very cold. It was very cold. We didn't pack appropriately. I think that's the point.
Yeah, Bloemfontein's fucking cold.
If you can describe your band with an alcoholic beverage, what will you choose?
I would say we've made our worst decisions on brandy. KWV 3-year-old brandy, Port Shepstone next to a braai, half a
Wilofberg.
liter Coke. Wolofberg,
Wolofberg.
Brandewijn, again, brandy. Brandy is, we are definitely,
Yeah.
it's brandy and beer.
So we've
Brandy.
got a rule also, and the rule is that no hard liquor for any sale.
Nothing.
Alcohol, niks. Niemand doen dit nie. But elkeen van ons het al gekom en gesê soos, "Jom, dis 1:00 die middag, kyk hierdie bottel brandewyn." Haha. So yeah, fucking next. But I mean, we've got some great stories to tell on brandy, but we also, ons jagkak aan hou. There's no other way to put it. Ons jagkak as ons brandewyn gedrink het. The one night in Port Shepstone, when we got to the hotel, we're playing I think it was the Lions Fest the next day. And like, we fucking honger, man. we stopped and we bought like a case of beer and we bought a bottle of brandy and like drank the case of beer from Amanzimtoti to Port Shepstone. I think that's like fucking 100 k's or something. So by the time we got there was like a whole fucking rugby camp going on there. Some school kids fucking story and al die onderwysers staan aan and they are all the braais occupied. All of them. So now obviously like I mean ons is nou 'n paar voor. So as I dink van fuck ek gaan nie baggie. Fuck hierdie ouens. So I just walked up to them, Tim and myself, and I just started moving their meat on the braai so I can make space for mine. And we started dying on the side. Turns out they were from Springs as well. Fucking small world, man. Small world.
Yeah, who knew?
It worked.
You know?
We made friends instantly. And that was one of the more memorable braais I think we've ever had. But it didn't last long because the only glasses we could get were the tumblers from the hotel room. And I think I was allowed to pour the drinks. I was pouring
Yeah.
tumblers of brandy with a crack.
And that's before Tim realized that he was blind for 18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he just never knew he needed glasses. He just always thought that this is what life looks like. Like, this is my tip. So he was looking and throwing top from the top. And it was like, nee, fuck you. Yeah, no, it was fun.
And I couldn't believe that I could see the leaves individually. Up until that point, it looked like Minecraft. For 18 fucking years.
So I interview a lot of bands, right? And I interview a lot of South African bands. And I think you guys are the most fucking South African band I've ever interviewed. It's Brian Brandewyn, it's fucking there.
Springs.
That was Bravo.
And we're
It was
from
Westland.
Nigel, we're East Rand.
Westland.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Last few notes. Tell me about social media. Tell me about Leave coming out this Friday. Where can we stream it? Probably on all the social media platforms, all the streaming platforms. Just tell me about your handle. Anything you guys would like to add?
Yeah, Leave will be coming out on Friday, and we'll be releasing a video with Leave. So that'll all be out on Friday. Just follow us, please. If you use Spotify, just go follow us on Spotify. Pre-save the link to the song, Apple Music, Deezer, anything you use, we're on it. It's at The Color Blue. We're on TikTok as well as at The Color Blue Band. Everywhere else, Instagram, Facebook, it's just at The Color Blue. X, it's at The Color Blue, and YouTube as well at The Color Blue. So yeah, just go follow us, put our name in. You'll find all our links, and share the song with your friends. If you like it, let us know. If you don't like it, also let us know. We don't care, but please let us know. You know what's funny? Now, I gotta say this. With our previous single, I actually had a guy from Benoni that one night commented about he didn't like the song. And I'm like, how? I mean, seriously, how you released a song and on your status, this guy goes and tells you, oh, I really think this is a crap song. Then just don't, why do you take the trouble to go and type out, oh, I think the song really it's really crap. And he deleted it the next morning. He got a lot of shit from a lot of people. But the point is to go through that effort. But your opinion is your opinion. So.
Yeah, it's okay. If you don't dig it, you don't dig it. And if you do, you do. And that's cool. Either way, I think that's when everything we basically said, like, and with no disrespect to anybody, but we write music for ourselves. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And I don't fucking care. Like, I just don't. Like, fuck, shame. Fucking what do you want? Yes.
You guys should try playing for a metal band. We get fucking Danny's writing, this is D&D fucking Bible. What?
Dude,
So
I spent 10 years. I spent a decade in a metal band. Believe me, I fucking know. And it's in the Bible Belt of the East Rand. So I absolutely know. That's why I'm doing alternative music now.
but yeah, excited for you
Go on,
guys.
bro.
Excited for the launch. I think it's a brilliant song. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for your time. Until next time, I've been Hardman.